Hey everyone, hope you're having a great Wednesday. I don't know why, but I have felt like all day should be Friday. How about you, Tiffany?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even know why. Like it's been an awesome week, but all day in my mind, like tomorrow's the weekend. And maybe it's just I have plans to be alone with my husband this weekend. It's like my favorite thing to do. So maybe that's why I'm excited for the weekend. So all of you, here's what we'd love for you to do when you join us is I would like your advice. So I'm a big fan of, and I do this in the boot camp all the time. If you want to know how to serve people better, ask them. So I'm going to ask all of you who join us today, what can I do to make these Facebook Live broadcasts even better for you? Like, how can I provide more value? And really, how can I help you engage more with us, the individual that I'm interviewing or I'm sharing a topic with, or even just me? And here's what I pledge to do is as I figure out more, I'll share it with all of you. So when you're doing Facebook Lives for your own business, I'll give you the tips that I'm doing. I do a pretty good job with keeping track of my metrics, and so I'll be able to share those with you. So for now, if you can throw in the comment section like, hey, Dr. Barb, this is how you can provide more value, or this is something I'd like to learn, or this is something I'd like to know, or this is how I would engage more with you. I'd love that. So there you go. I'm really excited to have Dr. Tiffany Russell with me today. You know, there are certain people that you meet along life's journey who make a lasting impression. And this lady is one of those people. I love Tiffany, how much you just jump in and help out in the boot camp. And you know, all of us want to have within our tribe our go-to people and individuals. Hey, Nance, good to see you, doll. I've been praying for you. I don't know what I'm praying about, but I'm just been praying for you, just so that you know. At any rate, I want to thank you. Like Tiffany just like jumps in and helps, you know, other boot campers out, or every time she does amazing things in her practice, which seems to be like every week, she shares her success with us and she shares exactly what she does. And so I just publicly want to say thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it.
I enjoy it. It's fun.
Very nice. So let's dive in and let's talk about what first led you to get on the phone with me. And what I want to do is also talk about how long did you think about it before you actually pulled the trigger to even get on the phone with me?
So, I probably thought about it for about a month and
Okay.
then finally just pulled the trigger. It wasn't too long. It was just one of those things where I just kept seeing your name pop up in different groups and different pages, and either you saying something or suggesting something, or some other person saying you should call Barb or you should join the group and everything. So it was just a matter of seeing that so many times, and I'm a big believer that the universe plays a big role in your life if you just listen to it and you listen to your intuition and you listen to your gut. And I've kind of been doing that my whole life. There's definitely been times where I didn't listen to it and had to be told over and over again by it what to do. But this is kind of one of those things where I was just like, there has to be a reason why this name keeps popping out to me, because there's so many people in those groups too. It was just a matter of I just kept focusing on your name every time I saw it. So I was like, okay, I'm supposed to call. I'm just going to do it and just see what happens. And I'm
Nice.
so thankful that I did.
Oh, I am too. Very, very thankful. And you know, sometimes I'll get on the phone with somebody and they're like, I've been stalking you for like a year. And I'm like, ooh, is that good? Is that bad? And so I just want anyone who's watching this now or who will watch it when we're not live, stop waiting. Like literally all we're going to do is get on the phone and let's talk about what value does that call bring? Is it, I'm going to beat you up and hit you over the head with like the biggest 2x4 sales, or like, let's help individuals who are watching this now or watch it later who are in that position where they've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Can you help calm their fears about just getting on the phone with me?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was great talking to you. It's not anything to be scared of. It's not like you say, you have to do this right now or else I'm never offering it to you again or anything like that. It's not scare tactic or anything. It's just sitting down, talking to you, telling you where we think our issues are in our practice and in our growth. And you kind of give your expertise and opinion on where you think we need help. And I remember my main issue was just feeling like I was always doing stuff but not getting anywhere. So whenever I was at home with my family, I was constantly thinking about my business and vice versa. And I wasn't enjoying being at home as much because I wasn't able to focus on my family because I'm always thinking of, okay, what else do I need to be doing in my office to watch it grow? And then I wasn't really enjoying being at my office either because I was stressing like, what am I doing? Why can't I make this grow? I was doing okay. I mean, I was still paying the bills and doing all that, but I just knew that there was so much more. And I was just stuck at seeing the same amount of patients over and over again. And I was getting new patients coming in, but my biggest problem was the retention and retaining patients to where I could start to then grow instead of just over and over seeing the same amount of patients each week, busting my butt trying to do everything that I can and wasting money. I was wasting so much money, like buying different paperwork and different things like this, thinking, okay, this is going to make the big difference here and this is going to change things. And it was just, I needed to get my systems in place. And that's what I learned from the boot camp.
So, wow, you brought up so many things. I'm going to see if I can recap like each part. We could go a little deeper. And hey, Chris,
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, thanks for joining us. I'm so excited I got to meet you guys face to face. We had so much fun at CalJam, and I pledged to everyone when the boot camp is being represented, we're renting a house because it was just a blast to go back and relax and have, hang out at the kitchen table or in the kitchen or just like a home. And I really think it symbolizes the boot camp that I truly feel that we're a family. And even though we don't have the same address and we don't have the same last name, that we really and truly are a family. And I'm so touched by how much everyone in the boot camp truly loves each other. Like, I don't feel like it's, even in our profession, you see somebody and as soon as you walk away, they're slamming you out, right? Like they're for sure saying something different than what the conversation just was. And I feel like in the boot camp, like we genuinely care about each other. Like there isn't a, oh, I like Barb, but then back over there, oh my gosh, that woman. I don't feel like we do that. And maybe it's just my beer goggles or whatever you want to call them. But I truly believe that we all love and care for each other. And Stacy says yes on the systems and accountability. So let's go back first and let's talk about the concept of if I'm at work, then I feel guilty because I'm not home with my family. But then when I'm home with my family, I'm never really there because I'm actually at work remembering all the things I didn't do or how my stats aren't adding up or worried about a staff member or worried about not enough new. And so what happens in that scenario is that our mind is always working. Like here in Alaska, you could buy a truck and it could have, let's say 10,000 miles on it, but it has a bajillion hours because it's running. Like if it's a slope truck, they leave them running 24/7 because of the cold, right? So that vehicle, even though it doesn't have a lot of mileage, like even if somebody isn't in their office a lot of hours, the engine is always going and running and running and running and running and running because they don't have the system set up in their office, or they don't even really know what they want their office to produce, like week 3, day 6, right? Start with the end in mind. And so it's just running and running and running. And can you talk about like, what is it like now that you have adopted the systems? What's home life like now? And I just have to ask you about that picture that you posted. It may have even been a year ago, which I think this is brilliant. If you have small kids, I'm going to let her talk about it. The plastic containers of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of like you already have your clothes. So I'll ask my first question. And that is, what's home life like now that you have systems in place? And if I can go ahead and say it, Tiffany made more than $40,000 extra in 2018 than she did 2017. So if you're watching, give like a double thumbs up or a way to go, Tiffany, because I think that's phenomenal. Like $40,000 in a year is a lot of money. So go ahead.
home life is so much more relaxed now because I know what I'm supposed to be doing in the office now, and I get it done. I don't get it all done. I don't think we're ever going to get everything completely done, but I get enough done that I can relax at home. And I know when I go back to the office the next day, what I need to start at and where I need to start. Whereas in the past, I was just so overwhelmed with everything that I would sit down at my desk and not even know where to start because there was just so much that I felt like needed to be done. And that was just because I didn't have any systems in place. So now that I have the different systems in place, it's a lot more easy to go to the office, sit down, look and say, okay, I need to finish these notes from yesterday. Okay, I got the billing sent out. I need to put the EOBs into the computer today. Okay, we have who's on the schedule today, what number of visits are they on, and we have an Excel spreadsheet that we put the names in, we print it out from the day before to the next day so we can keep track of who's coming in, what visit they're on, what they need done, and all of that. So it's definitely a lot better all around.
That's awesome. And is that your way to implement the sticky note system, what you're talking about with the spreadsheet?
Yes. So where you have in the sticky note system to target patients the morning of or before the shift, it's easier for us to do it the night before because with my schedule and my husband's work schedule, I can't get to the office much sooner than like 15 minutes before we open.
Right.
So it's a lot easier for us at the end of the night to get everything organized. And we still leave spaces after we print it out in case we have the random call, walk-in or something like that. I don't really accept walk-ins, but we'll occasionally get a patient call on the same day to come in. So we'll add those in on the same day. But for the most part, we try to get everybody written down and marked off the night before so it's ready for the next day.
I love that. I mean, you've taken a system and adapted it to your schedule so that you can still have the system and you can still enjoy the benefit of it, but it doesn't have like they're doing it at night instead of the morning. And that's absolutely perfect. The important thing is when you start the shift, you know what to do. You said something really interesting. We were kind of talking about it on a live call. For those that don't know, in the boot camp, every single Wednesday, we're all like this. We're all face-to-face. We're on video conference. I first answer questions. Like today, the question was basically, how do I schedule more talks in my community? And so I went through and I gave the strategies for that and directed towards the resources in the boot camp of how you do that. And then we went into, I started teaching. And so every single week we're all together. There is a difference between those who participate and show up on Wednesdays and their results and those who don't. So anyone who wants my one-on-one feedback gets it every single Wednesday. I mean, obviously everyone else is there, but you can ask me as many questions as you want. And so I'm not somebody who sold you into the boot camp and then you never see me unless I'm on somebody else's stage or my own stage. You get to see me, probably you even get sick of me, but I guess you can turn the volume down or something if that's the case. But I just want to, like one of the questions that we went over today is, and I learned this from my friend, Mike Michalowicz, who is the author of Clockwork, of asking your practice members, like what is our industry, like what needs to be improved in our industry? And something that I routinely hear is that doctors feel like they're sold into a program and then the coach is nowhere to be found. And so I want to make sure that individuals know it's not like that in the boot camp. But don't take my word for it. What's your impression of my involvement with the tribe, Tiffany?
I think it's awesome. Like you said, you have the phone calls every Wednesdays. I'll be the first to admit I don't jump on them every Wednesday. It's one of those things where if I'm on Facebook and a live pops up, I'll click in it and see what's going on. But if you're on the Facebook page, somebody asks a question, you are always responding, answering, and giving your input, making reference to the area in the videos, what week, what day to go back and watch and do. And then there's been so many times that I have personally messaged you too, and you responded, or texted you and you responded. So you have complete access to you all the time, which is awesome.
So thank you for saying that. I try really hard to make sure that, like the community, obviously our tribe is getting pretty well known in our profession. And
Yes.
whether it's at CalJam or other places, I get the question all the time, how have you built the tribe? Like, how is it that everyone is just like so bought in? And I said, because it's ours, because it's our tribe. Like, we've all taken personal responsibility for one another. Thanks, David Fletcher. And yeah, we have great content creators like Dr. David Fletcher, who is a content creator. And if you're someone, and this is going to bring tears to my eyes, but something I'm really passionate about is, if you don't understand chiropractic and you're a chiropractor, if you don't get the philosophy, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I promise you, we will embrace you and we will love on you and we will help you with that journey. As long as you have an interest, I promise you the entire tribe will encircle around you and help you get it. And that's one of the reasons I asked my good friend David Fletcher to create that week about certainty, about having confidence and delivering the goods, because I recognize that some individuals never got it in school. They never, or
I
maybe,
didn't.
yeah, and you didn't, right? And so
No, there was 1 or 2 classes that we took, but the school that I went to was more science-based. So that's one area that I definitely felt like I was lacking, and definitely have learned a lot from that since joining the boot camp as well.
yay!
Just the first week in the mindset area was like mind-blowing for me when it came to that.
That's awesome. And what do you remember specifically? What was it in week 1 that really helped you? Was it day 6, the conviction?
I can't remember which day it was, but it was something along the lines of, think about what could happen to your patient if you let them walk out the door and they go down the medical route of pills and opioids and all of that. And that's kind of what stuck with me as to, okay, I need to really start telling patients the amount of visits that they need to come in and not like back off because I'm afraid that they're going to say no. Because if I don't tell them exactly what they need, who is?
Yes. And just like, and that's, if those of you who aren't in the boot camp and you only see one part of me out here. In the boot camp, I talk a lot about stay in the sale. And the reason I'm so passionate about that is to make sure that we never co-sign on the delusion that somebody is okay if they leave our presence and don't take action. Because then we're basically saying, yep, you know what? That route, there's no harm. Like, go ahead. No landmines out there. And that is not true. Like, I used to say to practice members all the time, and I would, have a myriad of different words I would write on the whiteboard. And whiteboards for me were my ticket in, right? Like, they were the way in which I could start having great dialogues with my practice members, were the whiteboards. And so it's the idea of every single person who's represented in a statistic within the medical model, whether it's back surgery or it's death or injury from a drug, or it's death or injury from a vaccine, every person who represents one of those statistics had the exact same thought about it where you're standing right now. Like, this is a conversation I would have a practice member. Like, it won't happen to me. Like, that won't happen to me if I take that drug. That won't happen to my child if they're vaccinated. That won't happen to my husband if he goes in for surgery. They all had that same idea, and look at what happened. So as your chiropractor, my job is to make sure that you understand not only the risks, and that's not my, like, that's outside of my scope. So I'm happy to provide you with literature to read of how I formed my opinion. But part of the reason I'm so passionate about you staying healthy is so that you never are forced to make that decision, that you don't have to decide, oh my gosh, my health is depleted so much that I have to take this drug or else. But let's keep you on this side, because the worst place for you to be if you are sick is in a hospital, right? The worst thing if your body is compromised is to put more chemicals in it. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping you stay way far away from that possibility. So Tiffany, let's talk about your results. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So let's talk about, like, what was the first period of momentum that you started gaining in the boot camp? And then what did that lead to? And then we'll talk about the end of the year.
Okay. So I joined the boot camp last March, and I want to say it was within 3 weeks that I had doubled my business, started seeing double what I was used to. That went on for a good 2 or 3 months, and then I got really sick. I hit my terror barrier, and I let myself drift back into the comfort zone for a couple months. And then after doing that, I realized, okay, this isn't what I'm meant for. This isn't why I joined the boot camp. This isn't why I'm a chiropractor. I need to stop right now and go back and start watching the videos again, get back on board again. And I did that. I think I started that back in December again. I was able to hire a massage therapist, so I got the extra help that I needed. And I started going back through watching the videos. I joined Tabor's spinal hygiene course, so I started taking that course. And I just really just made myself go all in again and start doing things and not allowing myself to just sit and slow down. And this week, we should be having our busiest week since I opened in 2015.
Wow, busiest year and busiest week in 4 years. That's incredible. Like I'm so proud of you. And you bring up a really interesting concept, and one that just came up on a call with a potential boot camper today. And that's the idea of coasting. Mm-hmm. Don't you find when you're coasting, you have so much fear?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. If I'm not like creating momentum, I'll be straight up and admit to all of you, I'm in fear mode, because coasting pretty soon. And I'm not producing, I'm not creating, I'm not getting out of my comfort zone. For those of you who are watching this and you think that the comfort zone, like at least it's comfortable, like at least it's known. I promise you, when you take a step out and you stop living in your comfort zone, you're going to get to the point where the comfort zone is like, eek, like, right? And not that like we want to live in that fear mode, but at least wise, like, fear and excitement are pretty similar emotional responses. And I'd much rather be in the excitement than in the fear. So if you were, what advice then do you have to somebody who they're like, oh my gosh, really? You doubled your practice in 90 days. Yeah. Really? You're going to have your busiest week ever in 4 years. Like, what would you say to them if they're like, yeah, but I don't know if I can do that? What would you say?
I would say, why? Why do you think you can't do it? You have to figure out what is in your mind right now that's telling you no. Because no matter what you do, whether it's join the boot camp or join whatever else, if you're telling yourself you can't do it, then you're not going to do it. You make your own reality. It all starts with you and inside of your head and what you're telling yourself and who you surround yourself with. That's a big part too. If you have people surrounding you that are agreeing with you, like, yeah, that's too risky, you shouldn't try it, you shouldn't do that, that's crazy, don't do it, you're going to waste your money, you're going to do this. And if you have all these people telling you that, then you're going to listen. You need to be very picky whenever it comes to who you surround yourself with. That's definitely a very big part. So everybody can do it. I really truly believe that everybody can do it, but you have to have the mentality and the grit and the want. You have to want it. You have to want it more than you want to just be comfortable.
Yes. And that want must translate into action. Like Tiffany was saying, in the boot camp, she finally got the systems, right? So then it was a matter of, if I want this, will I run the systems, or am I willing to accept, like where my practice is now? So she was given the tools, right? So, oh my gosh, can you imagine if want was enough? I'm telling you what, I look like I did when I was 18. If want,
you know how many times I've read about different dieting programs and they didn't work? I read about them though, so they should have worked, right?
Right. I really wanted it. Okay. Well, gonna maybe have to do a little bit more work. I really want to be on the beach right now, but I'm looking at snow.
Yeah.
So how do you change that? You get on an airplane and drive somewhere where there's, or fly somewhere where there's snow, where there's a beach. Absolutely. So as we wrap this up, what would you say to the person who says, well, you know what, my practice is doing good. Like I'm, like kind of like what you said, like I'm paying my bills and it's doing good. I don't know if I want to pay to have someone tell me what to do in my practice. If I just did a little bit more on my own, I'd probably be okay. What would you say to that person?
So why haven't you done that then?
Is you bootcamp trained or what?
if they're just thinking, yeah, I could do that, well, why haven't you then? Like, there's a reason why you haven't, and you've just been thinking about it. Most of the time, it's because you don't know the steps to take. You don't know what you don't know. And if you've never been there and been in a situation where you're seeing hundreds of patients a week or thousands of patients a week, you don't know what it takes to get there. And people in the boot camp do. It's just so comforting to be a part of the boot camp, not only because of the knowledge and the expertise and the videos and all of that, but for an example, I posted in there, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, that I had a new goal of buying land and building an office in a couple years.
Yes.
And within a week of doing that, I made an offer on a piece of land and it got accepted. I went to the bank today to start the application process. But I wrote about that in there, and I had like 3 or 4 people comment and say, you should make a new LLC for the land so that you lease the land to your business and do all of that. And I never knew anything about that. I didn't even know enough about that to know to ask a question like that. But it's like advice like that you don't even know that you don't know, that somebody tells you, and you're like, okay, great, that's awesome to know. And it's just one of those things too, where if I trust in the people so much in the boot camp that if they say something, I take it like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's awesome. And thank you so much. And my mom is a real estate agent. Well, she's retired now, but she was a real estate agent for 20 some years. So she's basically the one taking over this process for me and making sure that I get the right terms and all of that. So I just basically say, yes, you have my permission to talk to my mom about anything you want to. And she's making sure, she's calling around all the different banks. And there's been a couple people she's talked to that she's like, no, I don't want you going with them. I don't trust what they're saying or what they're doing and all of that. And I have the same trust in you and the boot camp as I do with her. So I just let her take care of that. And with you guys, I'm like, okay, anything that Barb suggests in the boot camp, I trust. Like you a couple months ago posted about your accountant that you use. And I'm going to give him a call here again soon and start. I talked to him like back in November, and I just told my mom today, I was like, I'm going to call her accountant and start to work with him throughout the year because I trust what she does. If he's good enough for her, then I know that he must be great. So.
He has been hugely helpful for sure. And I love, that. So Tiffany brought the idea about the land, and we're all like, yeah. And it's, it's not that we get behind somebody's ideas. Like if it was a terrible idea, we would be like, Tiffany, this is like a rotten idea based on these things, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, I remember like boot campers kind of started asking you some questions, and then it went from there. And so you brought up something really important that I see in our boot camp tribe too. And the greatest threat to any of us living to our optimum potential is a low demand environment, right? So, many times the people that we hang out with are our friends and our family members. And a lot of times those are people that we've grown up with that maybe haven't really advanced as far because of, like who they hang out with too. And so I think the boot camp is so phenomenal as well because of the level of success and the level of knowledge and the level of experience that we all bring to the table. And so, like as anyone who watches this or sees my page or whatever knows, I'm a big fan of sharing all of the boot campers' testimonials. Why? Because they're inspiring. When I see Tiffany making an extra $40,000 a year or having her best week ever, what it says to me is, hey, I bet you I can do that too. And if I'm not sure how I can do it, I can reach out and ask. But at least wise, seeing that story puts an idea in my mind. Like you were saying, you started seeing my name everywhere. And it's like, okay, I should probably call this person. Or, like if you get the idea of I'm going to buy, like I think I want to buy a new whatever. I want to buy a new, Brent's truck is sitting right here, a new Dodge Ram. And all of a sudden you start seeing Dodge Rams everywhere. How does that work? What's the same thing in the boot camp, and why we share our successes with each other is because that upgrades my level of what can I possibly do? How many more lives can I touch? Like, what are some of the bigger vacations I can go on, or how can I make a bigger impact? And so if no one figured it out yet, I love my tribe. I appreciate all of you so much, and I'm just so proud of you. So as we close off, any last minute comments that you would like to leave with those who are watching us now or will watch us later?
Okay, so one thing that I started the video out with was talking about how the universe talks to you and tells you, and you need to listen to your intuition and your gut. And I have a quote here that I would like to read, and it kind of goes along with that same idea. One of the things it's crazy, the fact that I'm about to purchase land after just 2 weeks ago, I made that decision, that I thought about it. But I really think that it was completely the universe telling me that I needed to do this, from getting a text from my landlord on Monday that I didn't really appreciate, and then telling my mom about it on Tuesday. My mom found this piece of land on Wednesday, and the listing was about to end the next day. And she goes, you need to make an offer on it. We'll help you in whatever way we can. You need this land. You're supposed to get this land. And we made the offer and got it. So I found a quote the other day that says, when the time comes for you to change or grow, the universe will make you feel so uncomfortable that you eventually have no choice. And that's kind of exactly where I was. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I really had no intention of ever opening my own practice. I was going to be content with just being an associate and just making decent money that way. And situations happen, and the universe made me so uncomfortable in those situations that I was 100% forced to just open my own practice.
Yes.
And then during the time of having my own practice now, again, I was content with just staying there. There's still an empty space right beside me that I was thinking, well, once I grow a little bit bigger, maybe I'll see about expanding into that space. And then 2 weeks ago, all of this happened, and I just said, nope, there's no way I want to stay here now. I'll stay here until my lease is up, and then I'm going to go. And it's just one of those things where just listen to what your intuition is telling you, or what the universe or spirit guides, whatever you want to call it, God, Jesus, like there's a higher power out there that needs your life for you if you just listen.
That's awesome. And I love that Tiffany just took action. They're one of the pieces of dog hair, which I think that we all have dog hair on us in our mind, and it's ideas, right? It's the subconscious programming, like from week one. And I really see it as dog hair. It just lands on us. And sometimes we try and brush it off, but if we're not intentional, it's just going to be there. It's just going to be there. And the longer it's there, the more woven it gets. Like I sold like one of my SUVs a number of years ago, and I hadn't been like super good about always getting all of the hair up from Ruger, our lab. So, oh my gosh, that stuff was woven in so deep. I mean, thankfully the color was about the same. A lot of it. But the longer that dog hair stays on you, the more it becomes a part of who you are. And so probably 5 years ago, part of Tiffany's programming was, I never make fast decisions. I never make rash decisions. I always think about things, even though she doesn't even know where it really came from. Just somewhere somebody said, this is what you do. And now she's grown her confidence muscle. Now she knows she's got backing. Now she has systems in place. She can cover herself. She's confident in herself because she started taking action. And now when those opportunities arise, she knows easily yes or no. right? And it doesn't mean that when you have confidence, you always say yes. It's, you know what to say yes to when it presents, it's on, it's all in, massive action. And that is definitely, you know, a trait of the ultra successful is they make decisions quickly. We are decision makers, and I'm so proud of you. And I cannot wait to see all that's created on this land. So congratulations to you. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks to all of you. So thankful that you joined us today. If you'd like to find out more about the boot camp, it's 56day chirobootcamp.com/apply. If you've heard me before, and like Tiffany was said, you're getting that nudge by the Holy Spirit or whatever you call it, stop waiting. Like, you can keep stalking me, but why not instead be interviewing with me? Because your practice is turned around. It seems like a way better place to be in that seat right there than just like trying to figure out if you're going to get on the phone with me. Get on the phone with me. I promise you, if we're not a fit, I'll tell you, because you only get to be in the boot camp if you're a fit. So God bless you all. Have a great day. And thanks again, Tiff. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.